The UBN, United Blood Nation, also known as the East Coast Bloods, is a street and prison gang actively primarily in the New York metropolitan area. The UBN is the the East Coast faction of the California-based Blood Street Gang. Their main source of income is the trafficking and sale of illegal drugs. And I'm going to give you guys a quick little summary here. But the history here of the UBN was formed on Rikers Island on July 16, 1993, when incarcerated leader Omar O.G. Mack Porty and Leonard O.G. Deadeye McKenzie formed an alliance between several gangs, including the Nine Trey Gangsters, GKB, and Bloodstone Villains, in order to protect members from the dominant Nietas and Latin Kings. The UBN was established as the New York branch of the California-based Bloods, which its members are loosely affiliated with, and the gang spread along the East Coast as members were released from prison. So let's talk a little bit more about OG Mack here, okay? So, and we're going all into the lore now, okay? So, as y'all know, the Bloods are a famous criminal organization that started out in Los Angeles, right? Minimize this real quick. That started out in Los Angeles, and it was originally designed, right, in the 60s or 70s to, you know, kind of to overcome the adversity that African Americans were experiencing in the United States. You know, it was like guys from the neighborhood sticking together, protecting each other, taking care of their communities, whatever. But obviously, it evolved into you know, a criminal organization where they start, you know, selling dope, you know, racketeering, extortion, violence, carjackings, anything that's going to make it. It went from something positive to something that was negative to make money and generate money for the organization through illicit activities. Okay, so OG Mack is actually from New York. Okay, so OG is living with his aunt in the Bronx, and he starts repping the Blood stuff, right? And he goes back and forth between his aunt and his family in California, and he's slowly bringing the West Coast gang lifestyle to the East Coast. Okay, and he gets locked up. And for some of you guys that don't know, Rikers Island is an island, guys, where it has a prison. It's right outside in New York City. You have to basically, you know, it's surrounded by water. There's fences, you know, fences everywhere, and it's a very tough jail, man. It's they've been talking about closing Rikers down since I was a kid. And in the prison system, guys, it's very racist. And what I mean by that in the prison system, and this is how you guys are going to be able to understand everything. So in the prison system, you stick with your color, okay? The Latinos stick with the Latinos, the whites stick with the whites, the blacks stick with the blacks. And back then, in the 90s, okay, the blacks were all disorganized. They didn't have any real criminal gangs. Like if you were from Brooklyn, you had your little set. If you were from Bronx, you had your little gang, whatever it is. But the Latinos were actually together. Okay, especially the Latin Kings. They were running the prison system in New York in the 90s. So to be able to fight back, the black gangs, okay, formed the Bloods, which was led by OG Mack in the prison system. And then it leaked its way out into the real world, or into the free world, as they call it, okay? But he was responsible for making bringing the Bloods over to the East Coast, which is why OG Mack is important in this case, all right? So he brings the Bloods over in the prison system as a way to protect them from the Latin Kings. And don't worry, guys, I'll do a show on gangs in general. Like because I actually did a very big Latin King case myself, so I'm very familiar with them as well. And they're extremely organized. So I'm not surprised that they had to, you know, formulate these gangs to be able to combat the Latino gangs in prison. Because the Latin Kings also have like a very organized structure with Incas and, you know, enforcers and all that stuff. But I'll break that down for y'all another day. So anyway, and I'll talk about the case that I did. So if you guys are enjoying this content, give me a goddamn like on the video. Ain't nobody breaking this stuff down for y'all like that. So you got the United Blood Nation, right? Which was formed by OG Mack. There were two main big sets from the UBN out of New York, okay, guys, which every other blood gang in New York City would kind of come from and splinter from. There was the Gorilla Stone Nation, Untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation, and then there was the Brims, okay? Whoop-dee. You heard that before, right? Okay? So, the Gorilla Stones and the Brims started fighting, all right? They had some issues with each other. So they splintered off and made their own sets. And guys, a set is basically like a group of guys that claim like one area. They're still Bloods, but they have their own set. So they have think of it as a organization within an established organization. Okay, they're still wearing the red rags, they're still following the rules, etc., and they're still collecting dues and all that other stuff, but they're a set within the Bloods. So those two big factions splintered off. All right, that's where whoopty comes from. All right, whoopty is a brim term, gentlemen, which we'll talk about that on another show. I could talk about the brims because they've also gotten big indictments on them.